Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Anime Discussions. Today, here with you is Shaggy the Animaniac, and today we will be discussing how I believe early Naruto is better than Shippuden. Now, this could just be from nostalgia or what may have you, but this is just my opinions. Here to say why I think this. To start off, we have Naruto being born. The moment he was born, he got the nine-tailed beast sealed into him by the fourth Hokage. I mean, just to start off the story, I mean that's an insanely awesome scene to see during the anime. And granted, it was only for a few seconds, but still. Uh, Cut to 12 years later, and you already have him outpacing and outrunning Jonin, and maybe even Anbu. I'm not exactly sure, but I know it was at least Jonin. Just to get caught by Iruka Sensei out of everybody. I mean, his teacher. I mean, who else is going to catch him? It's kind of obvious on that one. Granted, he couldn't even make a clone jutsu or any of this, so he fails the final exam just so that Mizuki can, trick him into taking the Shadow Scroll and, learning how to do the Shadow Clone Jutsu, which she ends up using to beat the shit out of Mizuki. But just to get put on the same team with Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke. One of the most emo people in all of anime, but anyway, you end up having those. The three of them end up having to take a test. The whole thing like that. And I mean, it may sound like I'm trying to bash on Naruto, but I'm really not. It was showing world building skills and just in general. Like I feel like the whole beginnings of Naruto kind of sets a pace for the rest of Naruto itself, not including Shippuden. You cut to the fact that, like, the tuning exams, for example, you have the third Hokage's former student trying to basically destroy the Leaf Village, gives Sasuke a hickey just so he can steal his body later in the future. Cuts the ties with the Sand Village just so he can invade and try to, take over the Hidden Leaf Village. I mean, all of this stuff happening in, just the span of 50 episodes before you get to the whole, Sasuke retrieval mission and all this. And that was probably by far one of my favorite arcs of the whole series. You have Genin going up against four of the elitist of Jonin for Orochimaru, and each one going off on single one-on-one combat in battles that, by all purposes and things, they should have been dead by. Choji having to resort to eating the final red pill in order to take down Jirobo. You had Neji basically accepting the fact he's going to get hit by an arrow and almost die just so he can send some of the last bit of his chakra down the thread to kill the other dude. Then you have Kiba fighting against the dude who gets Zakon. I can't remember his name, but those two, and the fact of him being able to, like, invade other people's bodies, and if it wouldn't have been for the fact that Kankuro showed up, he would have died. Then you have both Tayuya and Shikamaru fighting each other, and he only lived because he was smart enough to like break his finger to like keep him out of a genjutsu long enough for Tamari to show up and like wind jutsu the fuck out of her and make her basically get blown underneath a bunch of trees and basically get killed that way. You have Naruto first fighting against Kimimaru before Rock Lee ends up saving him, and just after getting, healed from Tsunade, he wasn't even supposed to like leave the village, and yet here he is basically trying to like help Naruto go after Sasuke, and his fight against Kimimaru, and how amazingly awesome it really was. He was underclassed, but yet somehow was able to, getting drunk and ends up, just fighting even better just by basic instincts. I mean, then you find that just for Gaara to end up basically saving him at that point, and basically the two of them fighting each other, and Gaara still almost dying. If it wouldn't have been for him, Kimimaru dying from his illness before he could stab Gaara in the face, Gaara was almost dead then. But was saved by that just in time for, and then you get Naruto facing Sasuke at the Valley of the End, and their two ideologies clashing so in a massive battle of Sasuke being jealous of Naruto because of Naruto's growth in the last few months, and just him trying to avenge his wanting to avenge his family, and the emotional impact it had on the show at that point in time. And for him to be like, oh, you won't be able to scratch my thing or whatever, but it really, in all actuality, yeah, he did. It was just great. That whole battle was amazing. And then here comes Shippuden. Like, I granted, the rest of Naruto, most of the rest of Naruto, the original, was, I wouldn't really say filler, but it had world building aspects. It showed more ninja missions that I really wanted to see and stuff like that. So it was really cool the way they did it and everything. And then you cut to Shippuden, and to start off with, he comes back from a 2.5-year training mission with Jiraiya to literally not learn a damn thing. Oh, I can make a bigger Rasengan. Okay, well, what about, other techniques, like Nido Jizo, where he can, like, make his hair grow all out. Why didn't he learn, I don't know, sealing from Jiraiya, or any of this? Like, there was so many other aspects than just, oh, I'm going to teach you how to tap into more of the Fox's chakra and make a bigger Rasengan. There was so much more avenues you could have gone down that road with this, and it's sad because that was something I really was kind of hoping for, since Jiraiya was a legitimate master of seals, and you can't tell me that there was not a point in time where they wouldn't have sat down and been like, do you want to learn this? Like, there could have been, should have been. Hell, not only that, but then you have like the fight in Naruto. You had Rock Lee versus Gaara, one of the most amazing fights in all of early Naruto. And in Shippuden, you have him fight against a dude who can do the same thing in sand. And then they fight to a draw. And then he has like little to no screen time. Granted, I know this show's named Naruto, but still, like, he was one of the most fascinating characters, and yet he didn't really, like, they didn't do him justice, like, in my opinion. And then Gaara, well, shit, Gaara died in Shippuden too. Like, granted, he got brought back to life by Chio, but still, like, if it wouldn't have been for her and that one specific jutsu that only she could know, that only she knew, out of the entire group, oh, it just so happens that I know this jutsu that can, bring him back to life. It's like that wasn't even right. That's bullshit. Like, the whole thing about that was just shitty. And then you have the fact that, the war arc covered 25% of the manga and the anime. Like, that's a massive chunk of your story, is the war arc, just to have 3 different villains that you could be like, oh, he really wasn't the leader, it was actually this guy. But in actuality, oh no, I was the real leader all along. It's like that they use the same trope so many times that it just got boring. Like, I was cool with Pain being the final boss. I would have been even cool with fucking Madara being the final boss. But to have Zetsu come behind Madara and just stab him in the chest and be like, I planned this all along, just so I can bring back alien goddess women to, like, fucking wreck on all over your shit. Like, the fuck? There was so many other ways you could have went about that. Like, and not only that, but then using every other plot hole that you could use, you could just fill it with Hashirama. It'll be fine. Obito, he got crushed half to death. Well, let's just give him half his body's just half Hashirama cells now. He'll be fine. Fucking Naruto loses an arm. Well, let's give him Hashirama cells. Danzo and the whole hit. Let's give him an arm full of fucking Sharingan from Hashirama cells. And yet somehow they don't fucking fuse into becoming, the Rinnegan. Like, none of them. Because that's how supposedly you get the Rinnegan, is by Hashirama cells and Uchiha cells merging together. And with Danzo being as old as he was and having him for at least 20 years, you can't tell me that there couldn't have been one of them that could have changed. So, them saying that Pain or whatever got the Rinnegan because of Madara when he was a kid, that just, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. I think, in my honest opinion, he was born with it. And it should have been just his. And then, I don't know, like, Shippuden was just a massive disappointment from me. Compared to, like, rewatching, like, original Naruto and even reading the mangas back to back, there's just no comparison to me. I still feel and will always feel that the original Naruto is superior to Shippuden. Like, there's no way, You had the third Hokage and the fight in the war for the Leaf Village. Literally fight the first Hokage, the second Hokage, and Orochimaru all at once, and basically was holding his own. He was basically the strongest person in the village at that time. And for him to seal off Orochimaru's arms so he couldn't use jutsu, so he had to run away, so he could go and try and convince Tsunade to, heal his arms, and where Naruto got involved and basically, snapped her out of it and helped save her from Kabuto, and making a bet with her that he could learn the Rasengan within a week. Like, that was an amazing training arc. Those episodes that he learned how to do, when he was learning how to do the Rasengan, was probably one of my favorite parts of it, early Naruto. And honestly, it's kind of coincides with him learning the Rasen Shuriken in Shippuden. That was kind of one of my favorite training scenes for that. And, and him learning how to do Sage Mode and Mount Miyaboku. Like, those were amazing parts to the story, and a lot of Shippuden was really good. However, the amount of filler in between all this shit and all the good scenes make Naruto Shippuden really, really bad, in my opinion. It just, if you were gonna have filler Like, granted, I understand you gotta have a few filler episodes and to make to make it longer so you can kind of have the mangaka, get out a few more chapters before you guys get to there or whatever, but you didn't need that much filler. Like, you really didn't need that much filler. Like, you could have gotten rid of half of at least the characters. Let's see here. Like, the whole, monk dude, like, who also had half the Nine-Tailed Shock's power, and you could have gotten rid of that and not even had it in there, and the story would have been the same. To me, that was a filler villain. He had no greater purpose in the story, just other than just to have another enemy for them to face before they face to go off against the Akatsuki. You know, you have who else? Kenkiku and Shmekiku, the stupid fucking the brothers that basically lived in the fucking fox's stomach and survived by eating its chakra, and somehow managed to keep having its chakra. It's like, you didn't need those two. Like, why does everybody somehow now have the fox chakra? Like, and each one has, like, this unprecedented, a massive amount of it, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, Minato had the yang half, Naruto has, or whatever, Minato has it, fucking Naruto has it, fucking the monk kid had it in his arm, the fucking stupid brother, the brothers, that's like 6 people. Just in that period of time alone, who also all had a half of his chakra. It's like, okay, well, that's way too. That equals above like 100%. Like, it just, they could have not had that. Like, granted, we're gonna try and steal a turtle. Cool. But we failed, and now we had to leave. Now the turtle is basically just gonna you basically just left the turtle to get taken by the Akatsuki. Like, we failed, so we're just not gonna talk about this again, and just gonna let it happen. Instead of having more Anbu, more talking to all the villages, instead of trying to make an alliance with all the villages before it became a giant, before Obito decided to, like, I'm gonna pop in on the Kage Summit and be like, I'm gonna start a war. Make whatever alliances you can. It's like, you guys should have been doing that before that. So you guys could have gotten rid of the Akatsuki before it became an issue. So you didn't have, the Zetsu take over and stab Madara, and just so many lives were lost because of that. Like, there was other routes they could have taken. I mean, granted, this is just my own point of view and my own references, but I just can't see why it was just... I mean, really, I think the show kind of ended around the time Pain's death happened, because of the battle with different ideologies, and, I really honestly believe that was really when the show kind of started dying, in my opinion. Like, I dropped it after the Rabbit Goddess kind of came out into play. I couldn't stand it anymore. It was already, it had the same tropes keep happening over and over, and I couldn't sit back and actually enjoy the show anymore. I was at that point starting to criticize it way too much, and I just couldn't stand it. It's sad, because I really did love that show for a lot. It was my early childhood, my teenage years, and even as an adult, I rewatched Naruto 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I loved it. Shippuden, I get about 150, 200 episodes in, around the time he figures out who his dad is and all that, and after that, I just can't really watch it anymore. It so much of it is just trying to find the right word. Too much of it's just boring and repetitive. You know, let's have every plot hole have Hashirama cells. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, actually think about your plots and like make it so that you don't have massive plot holes or massive like power gaps, because like Kakashi, oh, I used that was 2 lightning dogs in this, and it's like, oh, I used a bunch of my chakra, but yet later on he can just fight everybody and all this and just spam everything without worrying about his chakra, when it was specifically said that, you know, Naruto has the most out of everybody, and he straight up gave him everybody a cloak. It's like that I could see. That was cool. But to just like blatantly have so many plot holes that you refuse to explain on and just use the Hashirama formula for it, it's sad. It really is. But with that, I think I'm gonna be down to my final thoughts, and I just have to say that, you know, I truly believe that Naruto was and still is better than both Shippuden and then Boruto as well. Like, don't even get me started with that one. So, but that would be the end of this video, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Y'all have a good one.